It's the Eagle Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Welcome to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. And with us this week, it's Bill Meagher. And Bill, you're with Thomas More Prep. We wanted to talk to you about some of the changes that you guys are doing at Thomas More Prep. In fact, I could say you guys are always changing out there, aren't you?
Yep, just trying to become better every year, I guess.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and Thomas More Prep. How long have you been at TMP?
I believe this is starting my 8th year,
wow.
Which seems crazy to me, but I am the campus minister there, as well as the head boys basketball coach, and I teach still in the classroom as well, and so I got a lot of different hats that I wear out there.
Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Hayes. I'm a Hayes High guy, which makes it a little bit odd, but that's why I grew up in Hayes. Pretty much have lived there my whole life, except for 1 year when I went to Lawrence to work at a golf course, and then have called it home since.
Were you a basketball player when you were in high school?
Yeah, I've always loved basketball. I wish I was as good as my desire and love of basketball was, but it's always been a big part of my life, and I feel fortunate that it's done good things for me, and particularly going on into the coaching side.
It's probably hard for you because you have to balance this coach part of your job, the campus ministry part of your job, and then all the other things that you do as well. So it's kind of a tough balance. But then sometimes this might take more weight off you than another thing. Whatever happens at the school.
Yeah, it actually amazingly both sides help both sides. Coaching and being a campus minister is really about forming relationships with kids. And once you have that relationship, then you can ask them to do things like run sprints and to push themselves past what they want to. But really in the relationship side in the schools, again, when you've got to work with a person who's struggling, if you already have that relationship, which is a lot of what the community system is, then you're able to engage with them and have good discussions with them. So it's kind of amazing how they, both kind of involve those aspects.
Yeah, and we do see a lot of changes at Thomas More Prep over the years, and thank goodness for the ACE auction, which helps out, and also the great donors that you guys do have at the school.
We are so unbelievably supported. It's awesome. The ACE auction always does a really good job, and it's just fun to watch a community come together to support that school, and we are so blessed by that. And I think that all schools, even on the public school side, are trying to grow and get better to serve our young people better every year.
Yeah, just in the 8 years that you've been there, I'm sure you've seen major changes.
Oh. Yes, absolutely. Well, when I first started, I came in with the new junior high, which was a major change. Prior to that, we had not had K-12 education, so that was huge. You see a lot of teachers come and go. You see a lot of students come and go, and then just, the different things the state of Kansas asks you to do on the education side has changed, quite a bit in just that 8 years.
And probably the time growing up in Hayes, and now you've probably seen big changes out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I remember TMP being when I was in school, and then, when I came back to town, and then where I work at it now, again, I think that it's just something that we're continually trying to grow and get better.
Well, one of the things that we called you in here for, I didn't want to really talk about basketball the whole time, but we probably could. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is the community system that you're putting together, kind of the community module. I don't know a lot about it. Maybe you can help me out on this. But I'm thinking it's probably like the pod system or like the learning pods that they have at a lot of universities these days, where common majors have common areas where they get together and they learn under or tutor under certain people or have the same goals in place. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Somewhat. So the goal of the community system is to organize your school in a situation to where each student has a relationship with an adult within the school that they are comfortable and that they trust and can go to if they need help. One of the things that a lot of surveys in the state of Kansas come back is that a lot of young people in a school do not feel like if something was going on at home or if they were in a bad situation that they could go to someone at the school and get help. And so we want to try to set up or cause that to happen where every student has at least one person, a mentor is what we call them, within the building that they can go to. The secondary part of it is, again, research shows us that a lot of kids go through school and are lonely And again, that's a high risk factor for a lot of things. And so we want to try to help build relationships among students. It's one of those things, you go into a cafeteria and you see kids sitting, smiling, and it seems to be having fun. But if you look a little bit closer, you see a student here who fit into the crowd and kind of seem like they're with the crowd, but they're actually really lonely and disconnected from everybody. And so what we're trying to do is to build mentor relationships with teachers and then build student-to-student peer relationships.
Very good. What I'm going to do is I want to take a break, and then in the second half of the show, I want to go into detail on this a little bit and talk to you a little bit more about the community module and find out a little bit more about it in detail and how it's starting, how this whole thing evolved, if you want to stick around for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, he's going to stick around for the second half of the show. It's Bill Meagher, and he is with TMP Marion. We'll talk to him here in just a moment after this from Hayes Med.
An INSP original series. Why would these three men want to live their lives by a cowboy code?
What we do best is cowboy.
Tradition, dedication. But one reason is bigger than the rest.
Family. That's what life's all about.
It's a show you don't want to miss. The Cowboy Way. Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern. Only on INSP.
Hi, Scarlett here, and Eagle Radio of Hayes is sending me back to Branson September 9th through the 12th on a comfy Village Tours bus. See the fall foliage, hit the casino, and catch a roll at Lambert's Cafe. We are scheduled to see these great shows: Samson, The Hay Goods, The Acrobats of Shanghai, Clay Cooper's Music Show, The Branson Bell Cruise and Lunch Show. Singles, couples, join me September 9th through the 12th. All this for only $798. Call me at 301-2211 to reserve your seat now.
Come to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Fire in the hole!
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. By the way, if you do have any questions, show ideas, Gary would love to hear from you. You can go Gary, or actually G. Shorman at goeaglecom.net. That's G. Shorman at goeaglecom.net. Gary would love to hear from you and give him those show ideas or maybe some suggestions for the show in the future. Again, Bill Meagher is with us from Thomas More Prep. We're talking to him about the community system, which is new to Thomas More Prep, and how that whole thing evolved. I guess it is a really good thing because you think about that, more and more schools are trying to get into that, where they're trying to make students feel safe, try to make them feel comfortable. And I think a lot of times if they feel safe and comfortable, the learning ability goes up.
Absolutely. Once you're in the safe and comfortable environment, you're ready to be educated. But if you're worried about, it kind of goes back to the hierarchy of needs. If you're worried about your safety, security, if you're worried about stuff that's going on at home, then you cannot actually perform well in the classroom. And so a lot of times we would see students who are underperforming, and if we're able to take care of some aspect that's totally outside of school, we actually see an improvement within their academic area.
This person that's a mentor, this adult mentor for these students, once they see a problem or address a problem, do they go to the student right away, or they go back to administration and they try to figure out a plan of action? How do you go about that?
Initially, we would like the mentor teacher to be able to work with the student and say, I'll give you an example on the basketball side. Sometimes I'll see a kid have a bad practice and, he normally gives great effort. He normally tries really hard, and today he just seems disconnected or something. I'll pull him aside afterwards and I'll say, is everything going okay? And more often than not, something's going on at home. Mom and dad are fighting, or his girlfriend broke up with him. You know how that goes. And so then we're able to kind of talk through that kind of stuff. And a lot of times that'll be what it is. The mentor teacher, the student, they'll be able to talk about those things, and we can improve that situation right there. There might be situations where the mentor teacher feels like after discussing with the student, there needs to be more involvement. And so then they would go to the administration, and the administration will put together a team to help that student and intervene on those things.
Well, I know that it's broken up into 4 divisions, and each division has a saint. How'd you come? I mean, there's a lot of saints out there. How do you break it down and make top 4?
Yeah, I wanted my top 4 saints, but that got negated right away. But what we did is we chose the saints that are significant to the school. school. And so Thomas More Prep, Marion is a combination of TMP and Marion High, so we chose St. Mary to represent Marion High. At one time it was called St. Joseph's School, Military Academy. I think I may get myself in trouble on that one, but St. Joseph, so that was another natural one, as well as being two primary saints. The Capuchins have served the school for so long, and they're St. Francis Capuchin, so we use St. Francis. And then the Sisters of St. Agnes also serve the school, and so we went with St. Agnes. St. Agnes is also the patron of purity, which is, you know, a good thing to have when you're dealing with teenagers.
Yeah, sure. So how do you figure out who's going to be under which saint or which division? How do you divide the kids and students up?
Part of that is us as an administrative team looking at each individual students, and so we actually now will combine grade levels. In the past, it's been, you know, seniors, juniors, freshmen, sophomores, and we want to intermix that now to where there's a couple freshmen, couple sophomores, couple juniors and seniors all within the class. Part of that is to give those upperclassmen an opportunity to peer mentor the younger students, so we get some of that going on in our school. But then we also just look at dynamics, and then some of it's just left up to, you know, the Holy Spirit on who ends up in which group.
It's kind of nice that you do that. You allow the freshmen to mingle with the seniors or juniors or sophomores, and then the seniors down to freshman or sophomore. Because I've seen that in the schools when I've done interviews at Thomas More Prep before. A lot of students, when they do things, they love to, it's during Catholic Schools Week, they like to show the kids from the middle school, and they feel like they're the mentor, and it kind of makes them feel good to do that. And the kids always look up to the kids at the high school as kind of somebody that can help them out. And I think this would work on that same type level.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I went to school, we did have that set up at Hayes High at the time, and as a freshman I came in and there were some high school basketball players in my, what would be academy, and I thought it was so cool. And those guys, you know, I think liked working with us younger guys too at times, and we'd go to the game, get to watch them play. And for me, it was just a really neat dynamic, and I think that, you know, we underuse our upperclassmen to help our underclassmen. I think we need to do more of that.
Going back to the four saints and the four categories we have, is there something maybe about grades or maybe career paths, or what puts them into each category?
There's really not anything
criteria?
specific, but all those things will be covered in that. So within that house, then we will help, the mentor teacher will help with their future career plans, the IPS, individual plan of study, be part of that. Academic things, the mentor teacher will check in with their students each week on their academic progress, which gives us early intervention there. So the grouping wise not, but as far as all those different areas are being touched on in those groups.
So that works out pretty good. And do they meet with them on a regular basis, or is it just come and go, or as the mentor sees fit?
They'll meet with them every single day. So that'll be their first hour of the day will be with their mentor teachers. And so Mondays will be unstructured time. So they actually don't have an academic purpose. They'll be relationship building. So, you know, whether it's icebreakers or some sort of game that involves building relationships, that's what Mondays are. Tuesdays then are the career study days. And so the mentor will lead them through trying to think about what they want to do when they leave TMP and what career they want. Wednesdays would be when they go to Mass or they have their academic check-in day. So half the groups will go to Mass on Wednesday and half the groups will stay with their mentor teacher and review their grades. Thursdays are a place where we scatter them all over the building, and they get to go choose a class in the faith that is something that interests them. So we have like 12 options, and they get to go pick what they want to. And then Fridays would be again Mass and Academy Day. So
I know that you have this well thought out, and you know how many students you're going to have, but how many students will be in each one of these mentors' department?
About 12 to 15, and we kind of think that's a good number. You know, small enough to where you can get to know each student, but yeah, big enough to where it's not uncomfortable. I know sometimes smaller groups make students uncomfortable, and so we're thinking the 12 to 15 range is about the right place.
Is it a classroom setting where they meet, or is it maybe a lobby somewhere, or how is that, or does it move around?
It does move around a little bit. Most days will be within the house teacher's classroom, but there will be days where groups will combine and go to like our new learning commons or go to the canteen or the gym or those sort of things. And so it's pretty flexible. A lot of what it is student-led as well. And so some of what happens this year will be whatever the students lead and choose as they go.
Very good. And the Learning Commons, how is that coming along?
I just looked at it today. It's I never knew that room was so big, but it's coming along. You know how construction is, dusty and dirty, but I'm excited about it.
All ready to finish up by the time the school year starts.
I sure hope so.
All right. Anything else you want to add to let people know about this Learning Common thing that you have?
No, I would invite anybody that has questions or anything to contact us and discuss it. You know, as always, it'll be a learning process, and so you know we'd ask for some patience as we continue to refine that down to being as good as it can be. And as always, I just want to thank all our supporters out there, the people that help keep that school open. It's just awesome what they do in this community.
Very good. Thanks for coming in and talking to us about it.
Thank you.
Again, that is Bill Meagher, and he is with Thomas More Prep. We're talking about the community system that exists out there. And again, as Bill said, if you have any questions about it, just call any one of the administrators or call Bill there at Thomas More Prep Marion. Again, our guest, Bill Meagher. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week on The Forum, brought to you by Hayes Bed. Thanks for being with us.